Welcome back to Outdoors with the Morgans. I bought a little something that I should have got years ago. First up, let's make a spot to put it. So I just got back from the stone yard and I picked up a load of number 3 rock because we're going to make a little pad here to set my new fuel tank. Pretty excited. I should have gotten one years ago, but I just never got around to it. I've been using like a 100-gallon tank, and then I haul it in the back of the truck. Boy, a bunch of grapevines here. But yeah, I haul it in the back of the truck and go fill it up and bring it back, and that works out okay. But I'll be honest, since I got the new trucks, I don't like doing that, because no matter what I do, you're gonna get diesel fuel in the back of the truck, and I just don't like that. So I got a 500-gallon tank, well, actually 520-gallon tank, pump, everything I need, and I think this is going to be a good spot to set it right here along this road. I didn't want to put it in the way, you know, how I turn trailers around and stuff like that, but I wanted it close to the wood yard. I didn't want it up by the building just because there's no sense running, you know, machines up there just to get fuel. Plus the sawmill, it's diesel, it's down here. So we're gonna knock down some of these trees here. Most of them are dead or broken off anyway. We're just gonna push this stuff over the hill, put that number 3 rock in here, and then we will get a load of 2A limestone, put that on top of that. Cherry tree here. It was all rotted as well. But yeah, 520 gallons. And I timed it just right. Well, we'll see. I'm gonna call for fuel today, but I just checked, it was $2.87 a gallon for off-road, and I can't believe that gets me excited, but it's definitely better than $4 or $5 a gallon. I remember when we built our house, we had an oil tank in the house there. Actually, it's a buried tank outside. It was 89 cents a gallon. It was 890 bucks to fill up that 1,000-gallon tank. I miss those days. But diesel fuel is the lifeblood of the world. You know what? On a related note, the whole EV thing, I think it's starting to slow down. I don't know. I'm just not seeing it. I read an article yesterday that Hertz, the rental car company, they're selling 20,000 of their EVs just because not as many people want them as they thought. And I know a lot of the big manufacturers are backing off as well. I talked to a guy the other day, and I'd actually like to get him on camera about it sometime, but he attempted take a Ford Lightning, I think the whole way across the country. And it was a nightmare. It was the extended range one, and at higher elevations, he was only getting about 120 miles of distance out of a charge. It was taking forever to charge it, and it just sounded like a complete disaster. I honestly, people think I, hate EVs. I don't care, one way or another. They're just not for me, at least not yet or in the foreseeable future. Like that Super Duty behind me, I love it. 48-gallon tank. Gets on the highway, not towing, 23, 24 miles to the gallon. That's incredibly efficient. You can go like 1,000 miles. Sometimes I forget to put fuel in it. I mean, I've never ran out or anything like that, but it's just not something that you do very often. You don't have to. I can drive down to the cabin, back, down, and probably back again on a single tank of fuel. In a Ford Lightning or something like that, in the wintertime, I don't even know if I could make it to the cabin. Definitely not if I was towing something. It just wouldn't happen. So they got a long way to go. And this is just my opinion, but whenever you have to subsidize or whenever you have to try real hard to sell someone on something, there's probably a reason for it. You know what I mean? I know a guy that actually sells solar panels, and when I say sell them, there's all kind of government programs and they get grants and all that stuff. But I asked him one day, I said, "Do you ever meet a diesel fuel salesman?" And he looked at me kind of funny, and I said, "No, me either." I said, "Because that stuff sells itself. You don't have to have tax credits and subsidies and grants and all that kind of stuff, because it just works and people use it." Along with the equipment, it'll be a nice thing to have around 500 gallon of fuel for to be prepared. That will allow me to buy when the price is down a little bit, and if things were to go south, it would be great to have 500 gallon of fuel. Could run all the equipment. I bought a bunch of those timber lock screws. If something were ever to go down that you couldn't leave for a long period of time, I'd be all set. I'd be just cutting firewood, sawing lumber, and building stuff. I'm gonna rev this up a bit here. I was keeping it down so you could hear me. Yeah, this would be a nice spot. I may even be able to squeak out a little parking spot right here as well. Now this right here is kind of a mix of topsoil. I'm just raking it here, seeing if there's any sticks or stumps in here. But this is a mix of topsoil and actually it's pretty nice topsoil, really. But I'm going to have to cut this down a little bit because I'll probably have 4 or 5 inches of stone in here. I'm just going to set this pile of brush. I was going to carry it over to the burn pit, but everybody always says leave brush piles, so this will be the brush pile for all the critters. We don't have many rabbits anymore. We don't have many rabbits, we don't have many grouse. I think there's too many predators. Rabbit hunting used to be a big thing around here. We were into it a lot when I was young. Had a good rabbit dog, a good beagle. That was fun. There's a beagle club not too far from here where they train them. Those dogs, man, that is all they want to do. They love chasing rabbits. It may look like I'm making a mess here, but there is a method to what I'm doing here. You'll see in a little bit. But I don't know if I mentioned the weather. Right now it's beautiful. It's right around freezing right now, but later on today we're supposed to get, unfortunately, a bunch more rain, and then it gets cold. Like, it looks like pretty cold for several weeks. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. We'll be able to go out there in the woods, get all that wood out of the clearing, cut some more trees down, cut a bunch of wood. We'll be able to do all kind of stuff when the ground's frozen. Boy, this is shaping up here. All right, not too shabby. Got it all tracked in, made a little bit more room. We're gonna dump that load of number 3 rock, and then I think I'll run right back out to the stone yard and get some 2A. Then we'll come back and get her finished up, ready for the tank. All right, just leaving the stone yard. Got about 4 ton of 2A limestone. I just checked the weather. It looks like it's gonna start raining in about 2 hours, but I should be at least able to get the tank set. And then I think I gotta run my mom to a doctor's appointment. So we may wait till tomorrow to hook the pump and all that stuff up to it. We'll just have to see how it shakes out. All right, we're going to spread out these number 3s. Only take a few minutes. I got 3 ton of number 3 and 4 tons of 2A. Which it's really not going to be enough, but it'll be plenty, you know, for the tank to sit on. It's supposed to be real windy again tomorrow too. That's what's bringing in all the cold air. just like a little bit elevated, you know what I mean? I'm gonna build this up out of the ground just a bit.
right, got the tank in place. When I get back later today, if it's not pouring down the rain, we'll put the pump on it. It's got a fuel gauge, a vent, all that kind of stuff. But I bought this from JME Ellsworth, 520 gallon. And I mentioned before I was been looking for one, and I found some at auction. They're pretty far away. I would have paid less money, but there was two things that concerned me about that. Number one, there's a lot of new tanks that I've been seeing pop up at different auctions all over the country, and I'm not sure of this, but I think they were like FEMA tanks. So in other words, the government bought them, didn't use them, and they ended up at auction. I heard from some people, and it makes sense. A lot of them have never been used, but they've been sitting around a long time, and I had some concerns about rust on the inside of them. And I also thought, by the time you buy one in another state, go get it. I figured it was best just to buy a new one, and I know what I got. The pump will be on this side right here with the hose. So I pitched it towards the back just a wee little bit. I don't know if that's really gonna matter, but I figure if I get any solids or any thing in the tank, it'll settle back there in the back. And I was debating back and forth on what pump to get, and I ended up getting just a manual pump, and here's why. Well, first off, I don't have power down here, so that ruled out a 120 volt pump. I could have went with a 12 volt, but I got to thinking, I don't really use that much fuel. The skid loader has the biggest tank. The excavator tank isn't real big, neither is the Sawmill, and I would just rather have a manual pump, to tell you the truth, instead of hooking up the batteries and all that. Plus, sometimes I'll just run down here and get like 5 gallon if I'm starting a brush fire or something out in the woods, and I just prefer the manual pump, and which is why I went with a manual. One thing I'll have to do at some point, not really a big deal, but we do get some water in heavy rains that runs down the side of that road right there. I'll shave this down over on this side and just divert that down over the hill before it gets to the tank. You don't get a lot of water there, but you do get some. But yeah, I'm excited, man. This is a nice addition. Gonna save me a lot of time and a lot of headache. All right, so it is Saturday evening right now. I set that tank yesterday on Friday, and as soon as I was done, I called for fuel, and they said they'd bring it Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. And this morning, Saturday, the driver called me and said he'd be out in a little bit. So he came out, filled me up. It was $2.79 for that off-road diesel. And I think it came up to like $1,300 or something. So that's not too bad. And that should last me a long time. But I'm telling you, have a nice tank of fuel kind of makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside, which is the way I feel right now sitting by the wood stove. It is cold out there. Not as cold as many of the other places in the country. I think it's down to about 18 right now. But it has been so windy the last couple days. And I think the winds are just dying down now. But yeah, it's been pretty nasty out there. Just a wee little bit of snow, but the wind is the real deal. Last night I was in the building here and I heard a big crash. I mean, the wind was howling, and we have a metal garbage can outside, and it blew over and the lid took off. It's down in the woods over there, but I'm not sure if we have any trees down or not. I haven't been out in the woods. We'll find out in the next couple of days. We're going to be going out to the clearing on Monday and cutting and cutting and cutting lots of firewood. We're going to get that all out of there if we can this week, and back to the wood yard and split a bunch of it up while it's frozen. It looks like for the next 10 days, I don't see where the temperature gets above freezing, and it'll be down into the single digits. So it'll be nice and solid. I'll be able to go anywhere that I want out there. Something I want to mention before I wrap this up: if you did not see the video that I published yesterday, go back and check that out. I like videos like that, and everybody that watched it seemed to have really enjoyed it, but it's a little bit out of our element. Normally we do videos on what we're doing here or down at the cabin in West Virginia, but in this video we went and visited with my friend Dean and checked out a little town, English Center, where his cabin is. An old bridge that they're redoing. It's just beautiful country. Talked a little bit about the history of the town. I don't know if you guys are into that, but I like doing that type of video. I'd like to do more of it. Not all the time, maybe every couple weeks or something, but just visit nice, neat, interesting places and talk to people that are familiar with the area and learn a little bit about the history of it.
And I just like that stuff. I like when you get something out of a video, you know what I mean? And if you're into history and things like that, I like stuff like that. I do. So many people with all the shorts and the reels, and they just scroll on your phone. It's just mind numbing, and you're not getting anything out of it. You know what I mean? And but people just keep uploading them, and people just sit there and waste hours looking at really nothing. So I like to make videos that at least you get a little something out of. And it may not always be obvious. You kind of have to look sometimes, but there's always something there, you know? Like Dean and I, in the last video, we're up there talking about locust trees. He bought a bunch of locust logs. He's going to make fence posts. Well, I'm sure there's someone out there that watches these videos that are like, you know what? I got some locust trees. I got a sawmill. I need some fence posts. Just little things to get people thinking and to see how other people do things. And I try to always have at least something, if not several different things in a video that may be helpful for people out there. It's not going to be helpful for everyone. You know, if 100,000 people watch the video, maybe there's a couple hundred that will get something very useful out of it. Maybe 10 or 15,000 will learn something that they didn't learn before when we, go visit people or something and see cool things. But yeah, so if you didn't see that video, go back and check it out. I think you will enjoy it. One of my favorite videos that we've ever done, and this was way out of our wheelhouse, is when we interviewed Dr. Friedlander. That's the guy, the surgeon that did Eva's brain surgery a couple years ago. And we went and sat down in his office, and he explained the whole procedure in a way that a guy like me can understand. You know what I'm saying? And just hearing his story, how he got started, and the dedication those guys have. I could never go to school for all those years. There's no way possible.
I'm not sure I understand. Is there something else I can help with?
That computer over there is listening to me. I don't like that. I need to take care of that. I don't even use that one. I use the laptop there to edit on. That one is for Levi. He prints all the shipping labels and all that stuff from that computer. But that's the first time I ever heard it talk back to me. But anyway, I think that's about it for today's video. Appreciate y'all being here. Stay warm if you're in a cold area, and we will catch you on the next one.